On the line, the CEO of Box Out Marketing. How you doing, Tyler?
Doing great. Thanks, Sean.
All right, it's great to see you. So we're going to go over a few principles of marketing today, and we could either just jump right into it, or you can just tell us a little bit about tell us what you're going to tell us, and then tell us what you told us.
Yeah, no, sounds great. We may as well just jump right in. I've got
Yeah.
some slides prepared, but we can have a little bit of a conversation if you want to jump in with me. I'll share a few things, but the point here today is to help people understand why their marketing may not be working the way they expect. We'll go through some of that in the slides here. Is that all right if we just jump right into this?
Right.
Cool. Let's do it. See if I can share screen correctly here. Are you seeing my screen now?
It takes a minute, and then I have to give it the okay, as I remember. It's so weird because okay, there it is. And then I got to click there, and there we go. Six ignored marketing rules that are killing your campaigns by Tyler Garns. And we're full screen. Oh, but it turned you off. Okay, here you go. All right,
There
here
we
we
go.
go.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay. I was talking and you weren't responding, so I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Okay, so you can see my screen and you can hear me, correct?
Yeah, six ignored marketing rules that are killing your campaigns.
Perfect. Well, let's just jump right in then. Really, today, what I want to get into is the problem that all small businesses fail, or that small businesses face, and that is that a lot of them fail. And they fail at a very high rate. That's extremely concerning. For those of us who leave jobs, who invest our life savings or whatever it might be to start a business and to grow a business. That's just not okay for me. That so many fail. And having been in this space for a long time, I think I've learned a few things that I want to share to help people not fail so much. The other problem is that these failures, it's not just a business failure, it's a very painful experience. We as entrepreneurs, as business owners, for good or for bad, we put everything into our businesses. And I'd say maybe even in an unhealthy way, we do that. In an unhealthy way, we wrap up our identities in our business. So that's another discussion for another day. But because of that, business failure is an extremely painful experience. And so, again, I want to try and help people avoid that. Sean and I have known each other for a long time. We go way back. I'm the CEO of Box Out Marketing. I used to be a VP of marketing at Infusionsoft, which is now called Keap. I've been doing internet marketing for many, many years. Basically, just means I'm old. And I've worked with a lot of the big internet marketing experts out there. I've been able to learn a ton from them. I've also been able to share with them a lot of things that I've learned and help them grow their businesses. So that's just a little background on me, but that is not the focus today. The focus today is why in the world is small business so hard? Why do people fail at such an alarming rate? And if we start to kind of break this down, let's just walk it backwards. Okay, we have a business failure. Well, what happened? Well, it's pretty much always a lack of growth. Okay, well, if that's the case, then why don't businesses grow? And if you walk that back one more step, ultimately, I mean, there's a lot of reasons, right? But ultimately, in most standard businesses, it comes down to the fact that they struggle to do effective marketing. That marketing drives leads, drives traffic, which eventually drives the growth of the business. So that's what it ultimately comes down to. So then the next question is, why is it so dang hard? sometimes sometimes it feels like it's voodoo, right? But the bottom line is most business owners are masters of their trade, not marketers, right? And so you might be a doctor and you've spent years and years, mastering that craft, becoming the best doctor you can. That doesn't necessarily mean you've spent years and years mastering marketing. And so this is one of the fundamental problems. And so when you're not a master of a particular trade, in this case marketing, we tend to look to others. And so you hire people, right? You hire agencies, you hire consultants, you hire employees to do that marketing work for you. The other thing we tend to do is we buy stuff, right? We buy software, we buy funnel templates, we sign up for webinars, we do all this kind of stuff to kind of try and learn the tricks of the trade. Hopefully, we'll pick up something that's just going to turn the corner for us and help us start growing in the way that we wanted to. The problem is we do all that stuff. We hire the agencies, we hire the consultants, we buy the stuff, and more often than not, it still doesn't work. So the question then is, why not? And I want to walk you through a little mental exercise here to help you understand a little bit about what's happening here. We're going to get into some very tactical things in a little bit, but this is an important concept to understand. So I want to ask you this question. Let's just assume that you are in a rowboat in the middle of the ocean. As you look around, there's nothing around, right? Just water for miles in every direction. You can't see land. It's a little bit hazy on that day, foggy if you want to call it that, so you can't even see the sun. So you have no way to tell direction, right? You don't have a compass. It's just you and the boat and the oars. I'm going to ask you now at this point, what would you do? You're in the middle of the ocean. Obviously, you can't survive out there forever. You don't have any food. Maybe you got a little bit of water to last the day or so. What do you do?
I don't know. I probably starved to death.
Yeah, I think most of us would. You know, some people are just going to wait it out. They're going to sit there and say, "Yeah, I'm just going to wait for a plane to go by or a boat or something, and I'm gonna wait it out." Other people, I would say, most entrepreneurs would say, "I'm going to row." Well, if you're going to row, well, which direction are you going to row? Like, if you have no idea where's north, where's south, where's east, where's west, you don't know where land is, you don't know what's going on, where would you row? And this is the problem that we're facing in most cases with businesses and marketing. Is the business owner, again, is a master at their craft. They're not necessarily marketers. They don't necessarily know where to row. And so then you hire people, and those different people point you off in different directions, and everyone's going in different directions, right? And so you end up just being stuck. You end up doing circles in the middle of the ocean. But a different scenario, let's just say you're in the boat and you look out across the water and you do see some land. Now we have direction. Now you know exactly what to do. And it doesn't matter what kind of storms get in your way, if there's a big man-eating shark in the way, it doesn't matter. You're going to row, and you're going to row hard. And if you've got people in that boat with you, you're all going to be rowing in the same direction, trying to achieve the same goal. And so that's the difference. And that's what we're going to try and identify today is how can you get a clear vision? How can you develop a strategy that makes sense for your business where you can get you and your team and anyone you hire externally to get all aligned and row in the same direction? So a quick question for you, Sean, and for anyone who may be watching this in the future, whatever. Question is, what part of marketing is hardest for you? And you can just comment or whatever. Just take a minute and just think through that and get it out of your head, because it's important to do this, because if we can't identify where we get stuck, then we don't know how to get help and how to recraft our thoughts and recraft our strategy to get it right. So just take a minute, think about that. What's the hardest part? Is it lead generation? Is it getting the messaging right? Is it finding your audience and getting in front of them? Is it once you have leads in the door, you're struggling to convert them? It could be all of these things. It could be some of them. It could be one of them. Just think through that, get it out of your head, and write it down or comment wherever you're watching this, just to get really clear for yourself. As you do that, I want to emphasize one really, really important point here. Now, those that may be watching this presentation, you might be business owners, you might be marketers working in a business, whatever. I'm going to speak specifically today to the business owner. There's a couple of really key points here that I want to make sure we're extremely clear on for the business owner. First one is you cannot outsource your marketing strategy. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean you have to be the one doing all the work. You don't need to be writing the copy, building the funnels, making web pages, all that kind of stuff. Depending on where you're at in the stage of your business, that very well may be the worst use of your time, right? And so that's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is you cannot outsource the strategy, not the implementation, not the tactical stuff, whatever, but the strategy. The strategy needs to come from you. There's a very, very important reason to this. You are the creator of the business. You have defined a vision for your business, or hopefully you have. You have a clear vision of where you want to take the business. The strategy that you create for marketing has to be aligned with that, and it really does have to come from within you. So how do you do this? If you're a doctor or a lawyer or a roofer or a plumber or whatever you are, how are you supposed to find the time to figure out how to develop marketing strategy? Well, I would argue that that's one of the most important responsibilities that you have, is to figure out how to develop that strategy. And then you can outsource all the work. Then you can hire the experts, the agencies, the consultants, whatever, because you will be telling them what to do instead of them telling you what to do, which is backwards, right? Think back to the boat. If you're in the boat and you can't see land, and you've got a few people in there with you and they can't see land either, why can't they see land? Because you haven't told them where land is. But they all start pointing to where you need to go. There's no way to know if that's going to be accurate or not. But if the vision comes from within you, if the strategy comes from within you, then you can get everyone aligned to that. So you can't outsource the strategy. Once you define the strategy, then you can outsource all of the work. You would never do this with any other part of your business, right? You wouldn't hire salespeople and then just say, hey, look, here's the phone, here's some phone numbers, go ahead. Right? You would give them some training. You would give them some direction. Hey, here's our product. Here's how it works. Here's the message. Here's how we sell it. You would train them and make sure they know how to do their job. But with marketing, business owners do this all the time. We hire agencies, we hire consultants, we hire people. And since marketing feels like voodoo, since it feels foreign to us, we just expect that these experts will be able to do their job without a whole lot of input from us. And it just doesn't work that way. So you've got to own this piece. So that's my invitation to you today, to make a commitment to yourself and to your business that you are going to own the marketing strategy. Okay, so let's get back to why small businesses struggle with marketing. Again, the business owners aren't marketers. They don't have time to do the marketing well and consistently. They hope they can outsource it. They're lied to all the time, and usually this is unintentional, but I'm going to show you some examples. And just to be clear, I'm not trying to throw these ads or these people or these companies under the bus. I'm just pointing out the unintentional misdirection here, or maybe it is intentional. But either way, as a business owner, what you feel like is you're being lied to. So let's just take a look at a few ads for some solutions out there that are offered to you to help you with your marketing. So here's an ad, one-page website. The one landing page template sells any product. Well, that's just not true. I'm sorry, but one landing page template can't sell every product out there. It's just a little bit of a stretch of the truth. Here's the problem. We as business owners see ads like this, and as much as we tell ourselves, hey, I'm not necessarily looking for the silver bullet, we are. Right? We want something like this. We want it to be so simple. Oh, this one landing page template is going to solve all my problems, right? All right, Russell Brunson, great guy. I love his stuff. I have subscribed to his stuff, bought some of his products. Really great. But again, we've got a little bit of a stretch here, right? The life you want, the marriage you want, the family that you want is going to be fueled by the business you build. Again, I just feel like that's a little bit of a stretch. I mean, how is my business going to fuel my marriage or my family or whatever? Those are separate things to a certain extent. There's kind of further down on that page. Do you want to grow your business online, but you have no idea where to start? Do you have a company that's been successful, but for some reason you're feeling stuck? So these guys are great marketers, right? They're very effective at what they do. But what they're doing is they're pulling at your heartstrings. They're pulling you in based on the stress and the frustration you feel around marketing, and then making these really, really big promises. Again, digital marketer. We've been a digital marketer certified partner. Love their stuff. It's phenomenal. It's very good education. But again, here, let's craft an automated selling machine that consistently converts cold leads into red hot buyers literally while you sleep, right? The promise is just so great. Another one, Opt-in Monster, Webinar Marketing 101, how to sell anything with webinars. again, just stretching it a bit. 5 types of landing pages every small business owner needs. So what I'm trying to stress here is that we as business owners, out of our desperation, we see ads like this that are very powerful and effective and pull at us, and we buy into the idea that this thing, this webinar, this software, whatever it is, this landing page is going to solve all of our problems. But we do that before first figuring out the fundamentals. What about the fundamentals of marketing? If you go read any marketing book, you're going to learn about the 3 M's or the 4 M's, depends on who's teaching it and how they're teaching it, right? But you got to have the right message to the right market, using the right media, right? That kind of thing. And back to these very fundamental things. All of the ads we just looked at just skip right over that. And so no matter what software you're using, what landing page template you have, what webinar format you're using, if the fundamentals aren't right, it's just not going to work, right? So that's what we want to get down to today, is what are the basic fundamentals that you as a business owner need to establish so that your marketing can be effective. So first, let's talk about the business model. What about in all these ads, what about the business model, right? What about a business where sales happen face to face, and this ad is telling me, well, this webinar can sell any product, or this landing page can sell any product? Well, that's not true. Some business models require a face-to-face conversation, right? So they're just totally discounting the fact that there are different businesses out there, different business types, different business models. What about the economics of the business? Sometimes the economics of the business just don't work for the way people are suggesting that you do your marketing. Here's the real problem. These gurus, these experts, again, people who I look up to and I learn from and I admire and I utilize their stuff, but they who teach marketing are generally influencers. So they're making money selling their marketing information, or they're marketing software employees selling marketing information, right? So we have to put all that into context, that their job is to sell us stuff, not necessarily to teach us the right way to do it in our specific business. All right, so again, let's just pause for a sec and let me ask the question. Have you ever followed a guru's advice and it didn't work? I'll say I have. Absolutely. In the past, especially, but when I was earlier on in my marketing career and you're trying to figure out how to make things work, and you watch a webinar, or you see a video, or you go to an event and someone teaches a concept. It seems so simple, seems so basic. It absolutely works for them. They're up on stage and here's how I made $1 million in my first month with this funnel, etc. And you're like, man, if they could do it, I could do it. And you go and you try what they teach and it doesn't work. That's not always going to be the case. Sometimes things work, but more often than not, we try and apply these lessons in our businesses, and we struggle to get the same results. Sean, have you seen this before?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you a quick story about this, and it'll only take 30 seconds. Is the guy who gave you the surfboard? I don't want to say his name, but I did something that he did, which was a us against them campaign. And I was promoting this CRM software that was from the San Diego Chamber of Commerce. So I said, hey, we are great and they suck. But the people at the chamber thought I was talking about they suck. And I wasn't. They were part of we. But when I ran the campaign, they got on the phone and said, what the hell are you doing? So yeah, I mean, it can go sideways even when you're trying to do it right.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the question, as I look at this, and we realize, okay, there are all these experts out there trying to sell us stuff. There are all these software companies out there trying to sell us stuff. Are we as business owners really that gullible that we'll just buy into whatever promises they offer? And the truth is, kind of, yes, we are. And it's not that we're gullible. It's that we really do want the shortcuts. We want it to be super easy. We want it to be foolproof. That idea that anyone can do it really, really pulls at us because we're so stretched thin with all the things we're trying to do, wearing too many hats, growing the business. This idea that it can sell anything. We're like, yes, I need that. Right? The one pager sounds simple and easy. We do want easy. We do want the silver bullet. The problem is these promises pull us into what I'll call tunnel vision, right? You get so focused on that new tool or that new webinar or that new, format for selling or whatever it is. And we tend to kind of ignore all of the rest because the promises are so great. And again, it's not that we're gullible, it's just that we're so desperate for success because of the stress that is created when you start your own business and you're trying to grow it and you've invested a lot of time, energy, and money into it. You've invested your whole heart and soul into it. And so you so desperately want it to work that we really do tend to get so channeled into one specific thing is going to solve all the problems. And when we take a step back and we look at it, we realize, yeah, that's totally not right? It's not logical that that's going to work. But again, out of desperation, we tend to fall into that trap. So we want it easy. We want it simple. We want the silver bullet. And this false hope really derails us from developing true strategy. Hope is not a strategy, right? It's just hope. And it doesn't actually help us to build the strategy correctly. So with all that preamble, let's get into 6 ignored marketing rules that are killing your campaigns. First, let's talk about that foundation, right? The foundational principles. Our number one rule here is don't try and fight a losing battle. So you have to get honest with yourself. Take a step back and ask, is your industry growing or shrinking? I worked with a client years ago who was in the CD duplication business, and he had an extremely successful business. And as CDs and DVDs started to go the way of the world, he hung on to that business and he really focused on some key clients. Some of them were government clients that were still using CDs and DVDs in various different ways and was able to be successful for a time. But eventually that business just died, right? Like no one's using CDs and DVDs anymore. So you have to really get honest with yourself and understand, is this industry growing or shrinking? Is there a path forward here to grow? If not, it's time to move on and go do something else. These are the fundamentals of business that just have to be true for it to work. Also, do you have a competitive advantage in your market? So many people that I work with don't have a competitive advantage. They just got into a market because that's what they know, that's what they learned. They were an employee in that market and then they decided to go do it and they wanted to do it their way, which is fine, but it's not necessarily better, or they're at least not able to articulate well what the advantage is. So if you can't communicate that well to your audience, then again, you're fighting a losing battle. Like, how are you going to go out and win if you can't communicate that? Do you have an easy or unique way of reaching your audience? Again, this happens often when people work in an industry for a while and then they go out and start their own business and they think, oh, since I'm now an expert, I've been doing this for 10, 20, 30 years, now I'm going to go have my own business doing this thing. Well, if they haven't also figured out a way to reach the audience, then your expertise doesn't matter, right? You're fighting a losing battle here because if you can't get out in front of people, then there's no way for them to know how good you are at what you do. And then I'll ask you, what stage of business are you in? Are you just in that kind of very entry level solopreneur, just getting started? Maybe it's a side gig while you still have your full-time job. Or are you now established? It's you and a small team. Or do you have a full business and team and everything all up and operational? These things are important. If we operate in one way and the business is in a different stage, then it's all just not going to work. So these are some basic questions to ask yourself so that you understand, like, it might have nothing to do with the marketing. It might have to do with some of these things that you're just beating your head up against the wall, right? Okay, next, let's look at the economics. This is another area where oftentimes business owners don't quite get it right. Is your product or service actually profitable? I've seen too many businesses, and I've run into situations myself where you run the business for a while and you eventually realize, like, we're not actually making any money. Yeah, we might be collecting a lot of money, but with all the overhead and payroll and employees, etc., it's all going out the door, right? So you have to make sure that it's actually profitable. And it sounds so simple. It's like, Tyler, why are you even addressing this? This is like dumb. But again, I see it all the time. It feels like the business is successful because we're bringing in a lot of money. But if you as the business owner aren't taking home a lot of money, then the economics just aren't working in the business. let me ask you this. As you scale, does it get more profitable or less profitable? I've run a business before that I didn't realize this until we really started to scale, but it was getting less profitable as we grew. and that was a problem. Eventually we had to say, all right, this isn't working. We got to change, right? The business became unprofitable. We had to make a big shift. Can you scale revenue and profits ahead of people? That's a really important question, right? Can I make the business more profitable as we grow without adding people or at a faster rate than we add people? Next, your conversion model must match your business model. What does that mean? Well, let's talk business model first. I like to bucket all businesses into 4 basic models. It's a little bit simplified, right? But it actually holds true. So let's just think about these real quick. You have local service businesses. So this is anybody who serves their market in a local area, right? If you would market, like, so I live in the San Diego area, and if your ad would say something about San Diego, right, then you're a local service business. If you can't deliver your service across states or countries or whatever, then you're a local service business, right? Then you have online service businesses. Online service businesses offer services, but they're not bound by their local geography, right? So an attorney might be local to their local area, but some attorneys might also offer services across the whole country. That would be more of an online service business, right? It just depends on how you operate, and it's totally fine to be one or the other, doesn't matter. We're just looking at business models. Next, we have e-commerce. Now, there's a lot of companies out there that sell online. That doesn't mean they're e-commerce. What I mean here when I say e-commerce is you actually sell physical widgets and you ship them, right? So like an Amazon store, if you're an Amazon retailer, then that would be an e-commerce business. If you have a shopping cart, you're using Shopify or WooCommerce or something like that, you have a catalog of products, people buy those products, they get boxed up and shipped, then let's put you in the e-commerce category. And last, we'll call this group influencers. This is anyone who's selling information, courses, membership sites, things like that, right? It's really selling education, communication, and community. So those are the 4 different business models. Now, I break them up this way because within those models, businesses tend to operate very, very similarly, right? Although your business is different and there's some unique things about you for sure, your business is going to operate very similarly to businesses in that business model. And the business model then defines the basics of your marketing strategy. So I'll ask then, does your conversion model match your business model? Have you actually spent time saying, okay, our business is a local service business. This is how local service businesses work. So we need to build a conversion model. We need to build a way to capture leads, follow up with them, and convert them into sales that matches our business model. And we'll talk about that more in just a bit. Okay, so those are the first 3 rules here. The next 3 are all about the tactics. So number 4 is, of course, your offer must be compelling. And this is really, really important. Again, we as business owners, we tend to be very biased. we tend to be looking at our products through rose-colored glasses. Our products are things that we created. We wouldn't create them if we didn't think they were the best out there, right? So we think they're absolutely amazing. And because of that, we just think that this product should sell itself. But the truth is, a great offer will overcome poor copy, but great copy will not overcome a bad offer. And I see this all too often. When you create something, you've got this great product, and maybe it is amazing, but you haven't been able to structure the offer in a way that people can feel that amazingness. And so then it just doesn't sell. So then you hire a copywriter, and a copywriter writes some beautiful copy, and it still doesn't sell. That's because the copy can't overcome a bad offer. And the offer could be bad because you just haven't structured it right, or because the product itself really isn't that compelling, even though you think it is, right? So if you've got something out there and it's not selling well, I would look first at the offer. What is going on with the offer? Because even with bad copy, bad landing pages, etc., a good offer will pull through a bit, right? But if it's just not selling at all, we got to look at the offer, right? So be open to the idea that if your offer isn't selling like it should, your offer is bad and it needs to be fixed. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean again, that the product is bad, that your business is bad or whatever, but the offer needs to be fixed. We need to take a look at that. Okay, number 5, your messaging must be right. Okay. Are you ultra clear on your avatars or your target customer? And does your messaging call out to them? Are you ultra clear on the problem that you solve for your customers? Does your messaging call out that problem? If someone can't come to a landing page or an offer page or whatever and almost immediately recognize, okay, this is for me and it solves my specific problem, then you're missing the boat. So I'd encourage you, go look at your homepage, go look at your landing pages, go look at your offer pages, and just objectively try and identify, does it call out my target customer? And does it immediately tell them that we can solve a specific problem that they have? If not, then we need to work on that messaging, right? Are you ultra clear on the benefits of your product? Does your messaging call out the benefits? And are you ultra clear on how your offer is unique in the market? And does your messaging call out what makes you unique? If you go through an offer page and you don't see those 4 things very, very clearly, then that messaging needs to be improved. It's got to be clear for your audience, or else they're going to go looking somewhere else. All right, number 6, your campaign tactics must provide the simplest path with the least resistance from point A to point B. Again, this is kind of a statement where you go like, duh, but I often see campaigns that, one, don't match the conversion model that should be lined up with the business model, and they often have unnecessary steps. This comes about mainly because we use a lot of automated tools now. And because automated tools can do things, people build stuff to utilize those features. But that doesn't necessarily mean we should, right? Just because I can build a 27-step email sequence after someone opts in doesn't mean I should. And what if someone's ready to buy after email number 2, but now they've got to wait, till email 17 before the offer comes out? Well, that feels robotic. And so we have to learn how to avoid unnecessary steps in the process. We have to make sure that our customers can keep flowing through at their own pace and avoid dead ends, right? Sometimes we have dead ends because our sequence is too long or because they opted in and they ended up on a thank you page that just says, hey, thanks, check your email. And we sent them away. There's a lot of different reasons why people get stuck in our funnels. We have to evaluate that and make sure that we're just allowing them to go through without any resistance from point A to point B at their own pace, at their own timing. All right. Are you providing a slow track and a fast track? Coming back to that idea of some people are ready to go now. They need to be able to move forward fast. And other people are going to need more time. They want to do more research, or maybe something's going on in their life and the timing just isn't right now. So they need a slower track. You have to be able to provide those different options for people in a seamless, frictionless way. Okay. So those are our 6 rules. I'm going to assume that we've got some of the basics covered. You're in a growing industry. Your products and services are profitable. Your offer is great. Your messaging and copywriting are decent. They don't need to be expert level, but they've got to be basically decent, right? And so let's get into the good stuff. Your business model and your conversion model. This is the basics of your strategy. This is what I want to make sure you really, really understand and take away from today. So let's talk about these different business models so you can identify the different features and where you fit. And you might also realize that you span across a couple of different business models. So for example, my business, Box Out Marketing, over the years has been essentially it's an online service business at the core, but we use a lot of influencer style marketing. So we span across both business models to get the job done. All right, so influencers. These are typically authors, speakers, coaches, gurus, etc. They use an ascension model, meaning they often bring people in with like a tripwire sale, $1 or $7 or whatever to get something. And then there's an upsell into something more expensive. And you might go into some kind of group training or education, and then one-on-one coaching and your high-end mastermind and that kind of stuff. Things get more and more and more expensive as you move up. And the product prices vary from low price to high price, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And the sales model is varied. You sell online with those lower price things. You sell in group with webinar and events for the medium price things, and you sell one-on-one or through consultations for high price items. Okay. All right, let's look at local service businesses. These are your local doctors, lawyers, plumbers, landscapers, etc. They have a local service model. They sell services to meet a need. Many are one-time services, right? So things like I have a leak in my roof, come and fix it. That's a one-time service. But some others offer retainer-based services. You might think of that same roofer might offer a seasonal roof cleaning. Lawyers put you on retainer, that kind of thing, right? Product prices vary from medium price to high price. They generally don't have too many low price offers. And the sales model is almost always a consultation, right? Very rarely are you going to use a local service and just go buy something from them like straight off their website without talking to anybody. All right, online service businesses. Now, these are the same, except they're not bound by geography. They tend to be agencies, SaaS businesses, which are software as a service businesses, consulting businesses, coaching businesses, etc. It's a remote service model. They also sell many one-time services, and some do recurring services. Product prices vary again from medium to high price. And the sales model is usually a webinar or a consultation, right? It's usually feel. Never just online, you're going to buy something. Now, again, unless you're using an influencer style model to get people in the door and then converting them into an online service. All right, e-commerce, these are shippable items, physical products. Product prices vary from low to high, but generally focus in the low to medium area. And these are online sales, right? And sometimes phone assistance is required, right? You're going to buy something that maybe that's more medium price or maybe towards the higher price. You might want to get on with a chat agent real quick to make sure you're buying the right thing. Okay, so let's talk about conversion models. Those are the business models. Let's talk about different types of conversion models out there. Now, digital marketer, again, we've been certified digital marketer partner for many years. They teach a concept that looks like this. You drive traffic to a lead magnet. People opt in for the lead magnet. Then you offer a tripwire sale, which is a low dollar sale. And then you have your core offer as an upsell. And then you have your profit maximizer, which is your high-end product at the end. So this is that ascension model that we talked about. Now, again, they will teach this to anybody who will come and listen, right? And that makes total sense for them. But what if your business is a local service business? What if you're a plumber? What if you are a homeowner and all of a sudden you've got a leak and you call up and you're like, hey, Mr. Plumber, can you come fix my leak? And they're like, yeah, let me send you to my lead magnet, right? That just doesn't make sense. We would never do that. That's a little bit of an obvious mismatch, but these kinds of mismatches are happening every day in businesses that are trying to utilize the digital marketer model or Jeff Walker's product launch formula, which is another great option, right? We've used this where you have a pre-launch period where you're kind of getting your list warm and ready for the launch. Then you have your pre-launch content where you're getting everyone excited about what's happening. And then you open the cart and then you close the cart and that's kind of the process. But again, what if your business is professional services, right? If I'm an attorney, for example, I'm not going to launch a product. I'm not going to have someone who just, maybe you're an accident attorney. What if someone just had an accident and you're not in launch mode right now? We're not going to have them get on the wait list and wait until our next launch. The model doesn't work, right? That conversion model doesn't work for this business model. Again, Russell Brunson's Perfect Webinar. I've purchased this product. I've utilized what he teaches. It is great stuff. Teaches you exactly how to do a great webinar, how to structure the content, how to build up to the offer, how to do offer stacking and all these different types of things. But what if your business is e-commerce? You're selling $5 widget. I don't want to sit on a webinar for an hour for you to pitch me on a $5 widget, right? So again, we have to make sure that our business model is clear to us so that we can then align the conversion model correctly to our business, right? Now, the things I just showed you from Jeff Walker and from Digital Marketer and from Russell Brunson, they are great things. I'm not throwing these guys under the bus. These are things I've purchased and I've used and I believe in and I know they work, but they have to work in the right business model or you have to adapt them for your business model, right? This is all coming down to the fundamentals of the strategy for your business. All right, let's take a look at one other piece, and this is a really important piece, and it has to do with the pricing of your products. The pricing actually directs the strategy in a fair amount, directs the conversion model. So let's look at each of the business models and how they do this. So local services sell services, of course, not products. And they may or may not offer what we call emergency services. So you can see that column is labeled 911. Emergency services are things like a roofer who offers emergency service to come and fix a leak in the middle of a storm, right? Or I just broke a pipe under the sink. It's flooding sewage all over the house. I need a plumber to come and fix it right now. That kind of thing. It's important to identify whether or not a business offers emergency services or not, because the model for attracting and capturing leads is entirely different, right? Some service businesses are going to do an educational model, right? Come to this landing page, opt in for this video or this white paper or this lead magnet of some sort, do some education, do some nurturing, get them ready for a sale, etc. Where if they offer emergency services, again, that would be the wrong tactic. What we need to do now is some serious, local SEO type work, so that when someone has that broken pipe and they go and they search Google, we pop up first. That's really the key in those situations. So the strategy for attracting traffic is different if you offer emergency services or not. Now, again, local services tend to be medium price to high price, sometimes low price, right? Online services, pretty similar, except they're not bound by geography. They typically don't offer 911 services, and they might also offer products. Depends on the business, okay? All right, e-commerce businesses tend to be more on the low price. They sell products, not services. They'll sometimes have medium price, very rarely high price stuff. And then influencers sell products. They sell them at low prices. This is your tripwire sales, right? Medium prices like group coaching and things like that. They also sell services, which tend to be more your one-on-one consulting and coaching and things like that at a higher price. Okay, so understanding these things is important, because lower price items are sold in a different way than higher price items, and this again directs the strategy. So let's take a look at a specific example. We'll talk about that roofing business I mentioned earlier. So roofers sell emergency services typically. They also sell full roof repair or replacement. So the cost is going to be medium to high. And here's how it works, right? Typically, it's a phone intake process. Someone has a leak in their roof and they call in, and we need to be able to address that call. On that call, we're going to do some triage, right? Is someone calling in because they have an emergency? So we're going to offer them a 911 service, or are they looking for more of a full service type thing? Maybe someone just has an old roof, they realize it needs to be replaced, and they want to talk to someone about that, right? So if it's an emergency service, we're going to quote and dispatch right away and get someone out there to deliver that service. If they're interested in more of a full service thing, we're going to quote and follow up, and that's going to start the sales process. And then eventually we're going to close the deal, and then we're going to deliver the service. Okay. So that's how most people might come in the door. Other people might do a website search and eventually find us on our website, and we should do some lead capture there, do some educational nurture, drive to an online quote, which then puts us back into that area where we quote, follow up, close the deal, and deliver the service. Okay. So that's the basic way that a local service business works. And then, of course, after delivering service, we want to request online reviews. Why? Because we need those online reviews to boost our search results so that we get more people from that phone intake and the website search. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the conversion model now. So we've got phone intake, we've got web lead capture, and all of those, drive to a quote, follow up, close the deal, deliver the service, and the online review. So we can do that through, video series for the educational portion of things, guides, various different ways to educate people. We're going to have what we might call an indoctrination sequence or a nurture sequence of emails. Could be including some text messages, some follow-ups over the phone, however that makes sense for you. You're going to then get them into a sales pipeline process where a sales rep is working with them over the phone or maybe even in person to move them through the stages of the sales process to eventually get an offer in front of them and close that deal. And then you might also have a loyalty rewards program. So you can see how now the business model, which is the top part, is reflected clearly in the conversion model, which is the bottom part there. And you want to do that for your business specifically, whether you're local service, online service, e-commerce, influencer. The key here is when you do this, if you as the business owner map this out, and it can certainly be a little more complex than this, it's a very simplified model. But if you map this out, what you're doing is you're standing on your boat, or in this case, sitting. You're standing on your boat and you are pointing towards land. And you're telling your team, there is land. Now, again, you don't have to be the one to sail the boat. You don't have to row. You don't have to do anything. Your primary job is to lead and create vision and create clarity. And when you can create clarity and say, hey, this is our business model. This is how our conversion works in our business model. Here is land. Then everyone can row in the same direction. And you can get it all to work right. Okay. Here's another local service business option. And the reason I'm showing you this is because you'll see some similarities. We talked about a roofer a minute ago. Now we've got like a med spa, a local surgery, center type place. And you see that the business model is almost identical because it's a local service, right? Then the conversion model ends up being similar as well. Influencers are different though, right? Influencers have this ascension model where you're going to bring people in and you're going to attract them with a lead magnet, sell them a tripwire, then do some nurturing, and then sell them a core offer, do some nurturing, then sell them profit maximizer. And then you probably got them on some kind of membership or subscription of some sort. So you're focused on retention and you're going to use some different tactics to move them along. Influencers also are different. E-commerce is different. Oftentimes it's all about, repeat sales. And so we get someone in, we get them to make a purchase, we do our fulfillment, we ask for a review, and then we're focused on repeat purchases, right? And so it's a little bit different. Every business model has a different conversion model that works for them. And yours might be a little bit tweaked compared to these. These are, again, very simplified models. So question for those of you who are involved and listening and wanting to learn, would you like to know how to develop marketing strategy for your business? If so, I want to introduce you to Marketing Strategy School. Marketing Strategy School is a school that I created to teach business owners how to develop marketing strategy for their business. And we're not currently enrolling at the moment. We enroll once or twice a year. And so we're not in enrollment, but if you want to find out more, you can go to marketingstrategyschool.com. You can get onto our list by signing up for the video that's on the homepage, and you can learn a little bit more there. And then we'll let you know next time we open up for enrollment. But I don't want to focus too much on that. I want to answer any questions that have come up for you, Sean, that you think the audience might be interested in knowing, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up.
Well, yeah, thanks. That was great. There was a lot said. Some of the things that you talked about, and I know because I've worked with some people that they're running the wrong model to their business. Like you said, like they're trying to do the one-page thing, or they're trying to do the tripwire thing where they don't really need that, where it's not going to work. I'll tell you that, I was in the treatment industry, and a lot of people, they just are like, do you need help right now, immediately? So if you do find someone, or for the people listening, because this is being streamed all over, how would you, how are they going to know they're running the wrong model to that? I know you just explained it, but is there some numbers they can look at, or analytics? What are some things they can do right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things. One is first understand which of those 4 business models you fall into primarily, right? So are you local service? Are you online service? Are you e-commerce? Are you influencer? You got to pick one. If you're having a hard time picking one, then that might be an indication of why your marketing is struggling, because you're not clear on who you are, right? So now again, you might utilize a couple different models. That's totally fine. But one should be primary. Your core product or service, how is that sold? What does that look like in terms of the business model? So first look at that, and then take a step back. And truthfully, it's kind of common sense, but we get muddied in our thinking based on what everyone's teaching us and telling us. So once you're clear on the business model, take a step back and put yourself in the customer's shoes and say, what's the easiest way for them to come and buy this? do they need a tripwire, right? And sometimes that has to do with awareness, and that's a whole nother aspect that we teach in marketing strategy school. We call it the awareness spectrum. So they may not even be aware of the problem, or they might not be aware of solutions that you offer and things like that. And so that's a good reason for getting someone into a lead magnet or a tripwire early, because you focus on a problem they are aware of, right? That's the key. Is we got to drill into something they are aware of, and then do some education to get them to a place where they can understand how we can solve maybe a slightly different or a related problem. And so that's all part of understanding the business model and understanding your customers. What do they need? What is best for them? Again, that's why e-commerce, selling widgets, low-cost widgets, typically doesn't require a lead magnet and a nurture follow-up and all this kind of stuff, because what they want is, I want a $5 toothbrush or whatever. And I know what that is. I know what the problem is. And I don't really care about all the education at this point. I just want to go buy one. Right. And so that's where, you just get straight to the offer. So understanding where your customers are coming from and what they want will guide you to the right steps. And in marketing strategy school, we teach, specific processes for this and everything. But in terms of being able to guide people right now, that's what I would do. Figure out the business model, understand your customers, what's best for them, and start building from that aspect. You asked about numbers shown. That's a good place. Like if you've already got a running funnel or whatever, look at the numbers. And if you see a place where the numbers just stop performing, maybe it's at the beginning, no one's opting in, or maybe it's further down in the funnel, no one's purchasing, wherever it is, if they're just not moving forward, then that's an indication that something's off there. And you need to take that step back and say, okay, what do my customers need? What do they want at this point? It's obviously not what I'm offering them. I need to change that.
Yeah. I'm actually going through that right now because I'm doing something that's for marketers by marketers. And I assume, since you're a marketer and I give you a link, I assume you're going to click on it for more information. So I send people this link and then they reply, "What time is it?" And I'm like, okay, if you click that link, it would tell you what time. And then, but then I get the engagement. So, it works in the long run, but you can never assume. The other thing with marketing strategy school, is there some information they can get there right now? Can they go there and opt in and get it like a video series or some type of download so they can have an understanding of the first steps they need to take before they enter into the marketing strategy school or get on the waiting list?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go there, like I said, we're not open for enrollment right now, but there is a link to sign up for a video. It's 5 reasons your marketing fails. And so it digs in a little deeper to some of the things that we talked about today. And that's just a video you can opt in for there, and then be on the list, and you can get some more information about marketing strategy school.
Okay, now once they sign up for the marketingstrategyschool.com, and when you do have open enrollment and people enroll, tell us a little bit about that. How long is it? What are the benefits, and what should they expect for an
Sure.
experience?
Yeah, we've got a couple of different levels. Our gold level is basically an 8-week program where you're going through an online course. Essentially, each week opens up a new module. You go through that module, you do a bunch of homework, and then you come on to a live group call each week to review your homework and to get answers to your questions and things like that. So that's the gold program. Our platinum coaching includes that, and then extends for a whole year of semi-private coaching and training to help you get the whole strategy all built out and measure performance and things like that. So I don't want this whole thing to be a big pitch on marketing strategy school. If you go there and just get on the list, we can
Yeah.
share more information with you later.
But at the end, there is an offer. So that's what we do here
Sure.
is or at least give them a soft offer. And one of the things about this, for the people that don't know Tyler Garnes as well as I do, I was following Tyler many, many years ago, and he's the real deal. He has worked with some of the biggest marketers in the world, some of the guys that give away Ferraris, and they're up there and they're being the gurus. Tyler really is the Oz. Not only is he, he speaks on stages, he's a world-class speaker, and as you can see, a world-class trainer and speaker here, but also the guys that are the gurus, he's really the guy in the background doing everything. he and his team. I've seen it in action, and they just everything about it is Tyler does with an integrity. But the one thing that I like the most is it's focused, and the next person that comes in can really understand what's going on. So it's marketingstrategyschool.com. Go ahead and go there and opt in, get his video series, and then get on the waiting list for the next open enrollment.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate
All
it.
right, Tyler. Thanks for showing up.
All right. See ya.